So what are we talking about today?
I don't know. You tell me.
Myths busted.
Oh, cool. All right, yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the myths that we want to bust doing this show?
I would like to approach one of my soapbox myths, which is that women need to have a contractive orgasm before you make love, because that's a sign of being a good lover. Because like men, if you have a...
I'm lost in the world.
Are you lost?
I have no idea what you're talking
Okay,
about.
so there's this thing that if you're a good lover and if you're a good man, you always make your partner come before you do. It's like, you know, she goes first sort of thing. So instead of there being a large amount of pleasure and sitting in like an extended pleasure zone, you're actually just aiming for the performance of an orgasm. And that's often why women fake orgasm, because they're under pressure to have one before he can continue with this. It must be foreplay, then it's making love, then it's a little bit of cuddling if you're lucky, and like afterglow.
Well, I have to tell you a funny story. And, you know, this is a show which hopefully will be worldwide. So I'm going to share something really personal.
Worldwide.
But worldwide, yeah. But, all right, so one of the things I wanted to share with you is when I was with my previous husband, I've had a couple. So
I just did one. I was only brave enough for one.
I've done a couple, and, you know, I reckon that if you do enough times, you get it right.
Oh, so practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect. And it is about rather having pleasure than the orgasm. The whole thing about you have to orgasm first. And sometimes you're just not going to get there.
No.
And it doesn't matter how hard your partner tries, you're not going to get there. So I have been known to say, if you don't come now, I'm going to get fucking irritated.
Look, I think you're special where that's concerned. I think there's a lot of women that would never be able to say that to their partners, because it would just be me and the end of their sex life forever. But it's an important thing, because I think there's times in your cycle, and I don't have the medical proof on this, but I have a lot of women's experience that goes towards this being a truth. There are times in your cycle when you cannot have a clitoral orgasm for love or money. Or
I
even
think
both.
any orgasm for love or
Yeah,
money.
but I think it's hormonal. I don't think it's necessarily connected with he's very good in bed, or he isn't, or he has the skill sets, or he knows how to touch, or he doesn't know how to touch. I think it's hormonal and emotional. And for love or money, you're not going to get there.
Now listen, I think it's also got a lot to do with what's going on in your head. Because if you're lying there thinking about, still got to make the lunches, I still haven't washed the dishes, you know, I've still got so much work to do and so many emails to answer. Not going to happen.
He's still under this myth. He's still elaborating under this myth that to be a good lover, he must give you a contractive orgasm first. And the reason why that is so destructive is because it's the same for men as it is for women. If you have a contractive orgasm, often it exhausts you. So you're not in a pleasure zone. You're not having an expansive orgasmic experience where you're just floating in these waves of pleasure. You're actually going towards a peak experience. You're having that, and then you actually want to also sometimes roll over and go to sleep. Some women do that if they're struggling to sleep. They'll actually pull out a toy, have a couple of orgasms, and go to sleep. So it works the same for women as for men. So you wouldn't give him an orgasm before you made love as well, a contractive orgasm with an ejaculation. You wouldn't do that, because it would be over. So it's one experience you can have when you're making love, is to have an orgasm before you make love. But men are laboring under this illusion that that's the only way to do it to be a good lover. And it's the myth that I would most like to bust. Because if you can take a woman into an orgasmic zone, then the chances of her having a sort of, I call the brain exploding out of the back of your head orgasm are much higher. The earth moves, yeah.
Okay.
The earthquake orgasm. We've just invented a new one.
The earthquake orgasm.